Okay, I can start, right? Tashi Delek, can you hear me? And good evening. First of all, from the very depth of my heart, I would like to again welcome all of you who are attending this wonderful and precious Columbus KTC Dharmic event in person, as well as those of you who are attending online through Zoom. Before we start teaching session this evening, I would like very much to sincerely and humbly request all of you to give rise to the precious attitude of bodhicitta. The attitude of bodhicitta is the aspiration to realize our mind's pure reality, which is unity of emptiness and bliss, great bliss, sometimes we say, the Buddha nature, and having done so, to be of immeasurable benefit to all mother sentient beings who are as limitless in number in the extent that the sky is vast. I'm pronouncing okay, right? Okay. This is the precious attitude of bodhicitta. Please give rise to it at the beginning of our session and try to keep it throughout the whole session, or maybe whole life also. That's good. Or if best, then until you become enlightened being. Let us now start with the chanting of Dakboka Gyulinesh supplication as the opening chant. When we supplicate to the gurus, one of the most important and indispensable thoughts that we should have in our mind is an uncontrived devotion. And of course, on top of that, we should definitely try to have as many positive thoughts as possible, such as a genuine sense of renunciation, unconditional loving kindness, compassion, and so on. So please make sure you have a strong devotion and your mind is free of any negative thoughts before we start the supplication, the chanting. If you have received any instruction of this particular supplication, then this is the time to apply them when we are reciting the supplication. If we can perform the Tapoka Gyulinesh supplication with a profound instruction, then the supplication itself becomes a profound and vast Mahamudra practice. Because it is not just a simple supplication, but it indeed contains a profound and vast instruction of Mahamudra practice. One of the most well-known commentaries of it is that which was written by the learned and Mahasiddha Karmachakme. I have received teaching on it from Khenpo Rinpoche, Kyabje Khenpo Kanta Rinpoche at KDD on May 5th, 2019. So I'm going to base my teaching on this commentary. Because in order for you to be able to teach others, you must have first received yourself. And that's what we call the lineage. And lineage is very important. So even there are many different versions of commentary in Tibetan, and this is the only I received. So I am going to base my teaching on this commentary. Generally speaking, how much blessing we get from supplicating to them, to the root gurus and the gurus of the lineage, totally depends on how much devotion we have in them. We have a saying, proverb is same, right? Proverb pronunciation, okay? Proverb, okay. We have a saying in Tibetan which says, quotation mark, where there is the best devotion, there is the best blessing. Where there is the mediocre or middling devotion, there is the middling blessing. And where there is the least devotion, there is the least blessings. This is all about the saying, and through which we also can understand if we have no devotion at all and there's no blessing at all, right? Right? Even it is not in the saying, but that's what it means. That means how much devotion we have in our precious root guru and the gurus of the lineage, that much blessing we will get from them by supplicating to them. Therefore, let us do this supplication with the best devotion and full of joy, so we will receive the blessed blessings which we all want for sure, without any doubt. There are many different melodies that can be used for this supplication, and we can do with any one of them. But most of the time, I use only one of them that was composed by His Holiness the 17th Gyeong Karmapa, because I believe it carries a special blessing of Him. So, since I was asked to do the umje is Tibetan word which means the chanting master leading the chanting. I'm going to use that melody today as well. I have the full right now which melody I want to use. Okay, I'm going to say that. Okay. I think most of you are familiar with it. Please put your hands in Anjali Mudra at your heart now and join me in the supplication, which Lama Kedi just says is on page number 1. Yes, it is on page number 1. Okay. Are you ready? Are you full of devotion? That's good. Okay, then let's do. lo ye me gom je me je son bai him ai ja do me mo yo so ma de ma ju de gara jo ya be gom chen la gom sa ya lo da ya da wa ra xin ge lo nam do ya ngo ya wo ya che go ra song bai xin che ya ma yin che ya ja wa ya la ma ya ga ya ro la ba ra ya cha be gom chen la ko re de me do ya ba ra xin ye lo ye wa ye gu yan do ya ya da ya la ya ma ya da tra ya me shi ye ya pa ya la ya long ju jin sa ya da ya lam ye yen de ram zo nem do re je shan je mo yang ba yo do vi sho do re je shan je mo yang ba yo do vi sho. Now, let us do some meditation, what we call the excellent beginning of precious bodhicitta. I have already explained the three excellences yesterday, which we call Tambasum in Tibetan, which are very important. Therefore, I'm not going to go detail about that today to save time. So let's just do meditation on bodhicitta. When I say bodhicitta, we should mainly focus on the relative bodhicitta, thinking that I'm going to practice, listen Dharma well, practice well, in order to benefit all sentient beings who are my own parents and so forth. You know, maybe you know better than me. Okay? Okay. Now we will chant the verses of refuge, bodhicitta, four immeasurable thought, seven branch prayer, mandala offering, and if there is, I'm not sure if it's there or not. If there is, we will also do the requesting teaching. And that is, as I told you yesterday, the reason why Buddha did not want to teach right after he became enlightenment is not because that he really thought nobody understood, but because he just want to let people know the value of the Dharma. So in order for that, it's nice to do the request of teaching. So you just think about the teaching, not the teacher, okay? Teacher doesn't, this teacher does not really deserve of mandala offering and so forth, but for the teaching is necessary, okay? So let me see if there is the, yes, I found it. Okay, now let's go to page number 4. Page number 4, 3 times. Are you with me? Okay. And we do no melody with this. Just read slowly. Hoi Sangye Shidan Zoye Shonayam Lai Chanjoyam Bardoyan Dane Gyapsoy Daye Jinsoy Yebe Sonam Drola Penjere Sangye Drobare Shoy Sangye Shidan Zoye Shonam Chanjoyam Bardoyan Dane Gyapsoy Daye Jinsoy Yebe Sonam Dola Benjara Sangye Drupara Sho Sangye Shodan Sogen Shonam Shangshu Bardo Dane Gyapsun Chen Dage Jensoen Gebe Sonam Dola Benjara Sangye Drupara Sho. Page number 5, again 3 times. Hoi Sem Jin Tam Jin Dewa Dan Devi Gyodan Dambara Gyur Dunga Dan Dunga Lai Gi Gyodan Dravara Gyur Jin Dunga Lai Mebe Dewa Tamba Dan Men Dravara Gyur Nerin Chadan Yedan Drave Danyaman Chambola Nebara Gyur Ji Sem Jin Tam Jin Dewa Deve Gyodan Tempore Gyurji, Dunga Dan, Dunga Legi, Gyodan, Ravara Gyurji, Dunga Leme Bendewa, Tambada, Mendravara Gyurji, Nere, Shadan, Yedan, Danyam Chambola, Never Gyurji, Semjin, Tamjin, Dewa Dan, Deve Gyodan, Tempore Gyurji, Dunga Da, Dunga Legi, Gyodan, Ravara Gyurji, Dunga Mebe, Dewa, Tamba Da, Mendravara Gyurji, Nerin Shada, Nyedan, Drave, Danyam Shambola, Never Gyurji. We have no time for the longer version of 7 branch prayer. Therefore, please go to page number 9, and then the last 2 lines. We will recite the last 2 lines, and this is the short and concise version for 7 branch prayer. Are you there? Page number 9, starting from the second last line. Oi chansa wa dan ju yin xiao ba dan jue se ye ran guo xin so wa ge wa jun se da ge ji sa tam jian da ge xiang ju qie ngo ho. Again, no time for long version of mandala, so please go to page number 13, from the very beginning of the 13th page number. Only the 2 lines, and that includes all the mandala offering in concise way. Are you there? Oi sa xi bi chu yong xian me do zhang re ra len xin yi den jian ba san ge xin de me de po wai zhou guan nam da xin la zhe ba rai shu. Finally, page number 16. Oi sem jian nam ge sang ba da lo ye xie zha xie da qie jun tong muan te bai. Now I will pay my personal homage to the Three Ratna and to my gurus by chanting some verses both in Sanskrit and Tibetan before I start talking, so my talk will be embraced by the unsurpassable blessings of them, and hopefully whatever I say tonight will be beneficial to those who hear it. Buddham gacchami sharanam yavatta bodhimandadaha dharmam gacchami sharanam bodhisattva ganam tatha. Namda sudram sakya sachin den tenzin pamer lingko benzin sharam niden nawe shukunsa tupcho dungun rumla shansa lo medon daze peme lamani tepe jengan dawo shundo gyo kanrin tudon gelon sosyo gyawe lungden gyo la shansa lo nime nyedan pema karaso toson gyawe lungin agwai namden sungmen gyawang karma pa orkin trillion dorje shamlandu mechung tuge samon kogone Nigdon dollar lakbar tuksewa, orje chango samkung shugije, pema ten dribe shamlando, ningbo tenge tenpa pepeche, dawa shuna dribe kurshenpa, nga kiwang chun dawe langso shab, laman dawa sangbo shamlando, keparanda chen namje kyabshenpo, gyawan kunlen kanchen laben kong, lapsum zosen rije shugije, ngayden shugije me dado kyong, dado samje tamje ki gyusi ye labdo so. Liu Xian Gong Jie Sa Dang Ne, Xin Dang Wo Zer Tam Jie Na, Nam Kwa Le Jian Xu Yue Zha, Give me Shambato. The main subject or topic, okay, for these 3 evenings, starting from today until Thursday evening, is a practical instruction of the Takpo Calculani's prayer and a general teaching on the first chapter of the ornament of precious liberation. So this book, previously it was translated as a jewel ornament of liberation. And then nowadays, most Tibetan people, most people who can read Tibetan, things, including me, things to say the ornament of precious liberation is better. So we are saying that way. So just to make sure you understand what I'm saying. So most of the book in the previously is called jewel ornament. So the adjective was for the ornament, but now adjective is for the liberation. So instead of saying jewel, we say ornament of precious liberation. So anyway, that's which the main subject is Buddha nature. Nevertheless, I would like to take a few moments to remind ourselves how fortunate we are to have achieved this precious human body in general. Did I say that yesterday? No. No. So then I'm going to say today. Okay, because it's really important. But I don't want to repeat the same thing again, so people will not get bored. I'm trying to bring always something new. Okay. So I would like to take a few moments to remind ourselves how fortunate we are to have achieved this precious human body in general, and particularly I would like to take a few moments to remind ourselves how fortunate we are to have met this precious Dharma, the teachings of Shakyamuni, which can lead us to the state of complete freedom from suffering of samsara if we practice it genuinely. That's very important part. Okay? When I say if we practice it genuinely, which means just by going to the center, hanging out, and attending a few teachings and come back home and enjoy the usual life doesn't really help. We have to practice it genuinely if you want to get benefit from it. I don't think there is any better cause for our joyful and meaningful life than understanding the sacred Dharma in proper way and practicing it genuinely. Reminding ourselves constantly in this way gives, let me correct my grammar, gives us a tremendous joy, no matter what kind of situation we may be going through in our day-to-day lives. Because the Dharma, the precious teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, would always provide us the greatest opportunity of dealing with every situation of life in the most positive and peaceful way, no matter how difficult situation we may need to face in our life. And reminding ourselves constantly in this way helps us find out that we are the most fortunate people among all human beings, no matter what kind of life we may be going through for the time being. From the Buddhist perspective, that is totally true that we are the most fortunate people among 8.2 billion people of the world population today. Not only among the human beings, I think we can say that we are actually the most fortunate beings among all sentient beings. Among all sentient beings. Let me have a water. My tongue is not working very well today. The reason why I'm saying this is we don't usually understand how fortunate we are, and we keep complaining ourselves and people around us, no matter how wonderful lives we may be leading. As a result of that, we never learn how to be gratified with what we have in our lives, and we never have a peaceful and happy life. Because there is no limit of human desire and our wants if we don't control our mind. Therefore, it will be extremely helpful for ourselves and people around us if we could keep constantly reminding ourselves how fortunate we are by being a human being in general and by having met the sacred Dharma in particular. The only thing is that we should understand the sacred Dharma in an unmistaken way, in a correct way, and we need to practice it genuinely in our day-to-day life. I'm repeating again and again, saying genuinely, genuinely. No? If we don't practice genuinely, then we don't get the result. Then we complain again, how come I practice Dharma so much, I'm not getting any result? That means we're not really doing genuinely. That's why I'm saying again and again, genuinely. If we could do that properly, then there is no suffering or problem in samsara that cannot be subsided and that cannot be pacified by the sacred Dharma. But just knowing Dharma intellectually is not sufficient, not good enough. We need to practice it genuinely again. Genuinely is coming there again. Okay. Only then any situation of life can be embraced by the happiness and peace if we can practice the sacred Dharma, the Shakyamuni Buddha's precious teaching, genuinely in our day-to-day life. Am I pronounced correct? Genuinely? Genuinely? I need to pronounce that correctly to make sure that you understand. Okay. So, practicing sacred Dharma in proper way, in a genuine way, in an unmistaken way, with fully understanding of it and its benefit is the real cause for our joyful and meaningful life. Of course, I'm talking from the Buddhist point of view. Not just for a temporary joyful life, but for an everlasting joy, which we call the state of complete and perfect Buddhahood. Even though most of you are senior Buddhist practitioners and you don't really need any more teachings from a person like myself, but there could be some people who are new to Buddhism, are new to our precious lineage, and as well as. So, and also, since it is my first visit here as a teacher at this wonderful Dharma Center, Columbus, KTC, I would like to start talking from the very beginning of our precious lineage in a concise way. The topic for tonight's talk is what we call the Dagpakagyu lineage prayer. Sometimes we also call it as a Mahamudra lineage prayer or short Vajradhara prayer. Even though it doesn't really matter what we call it, because Pankar Jambal Zangpo, the precious guru who wrote it, doesn't seem to have given any title, particular title to it. So we can name anything we want. But I prefer the first one, Dagpakagyu lineage prayer, because of two reasons. The first reason is that the root verse itself mentioned clearly, it says, unequal protector of beings, Dagpakagyu, we supplicate you, the Kagyu Gurus. That's what the root text says. So that's the first reason why I prefer to say Dagpakagyu lineage prayer. And the second reason is kind of interesting. You might be, okay, let me say anyway. Let me read what I have written down. Okay. The second reason is that if it is a special supplication to the gurus of precious Mahamudra lineage, then you should also mention the gurus of the particular Mahamudra lineage preceding Marba, who are Maitripa, Shawaripa, Nagarjuna, Sharaha, and the Bodhisattva Ratnamati. But they are not mentioned in the root text, root verses. Telopa and Naropa, who are mentioned in this prayer, are not in the Mahamudra lineage. The main Mahamudra lineage came down to Marba from Maitripa and not from Naropa. Because for some reason, which I don't know for sure, Naropa himself told or asked Marpa to get the Mahamudra teaching, Mahamudra transmission from Maitripa instead of giving by himself. And then Maitripa was a student of Shawaripa. Sometimes we also call Ritro Wangchu in Tibetan. And then Shawaripa received the lineage from Nagarjuna. who is very famous. You all know Nagarjuna, right? Nagarjuna. And then Nagarjuna's guru was Saraha, and Saraha received from someone called Bodhisattva Ratnamati or Changju Samba Lodu Rinche interpreting, and Bodhisattva Ratnamati received from Buddha Vajradhara. So Telo and Naro are not there, but they are mentioned very clearly in here. And then these important people from the Mahamudra lineage, they are not mentioned here. Therefore, I prefer to call Tabo Kyokyu lineage prayer instead. Okay, that is the reason why Telopa and Naropa are not on the refuge tree of Mahamudra practice. Have you ever noticed? I'm sure you have seen our what we call the refuge tree. Have you seen that? And then did you notice where Telopa and Naropa are? They are not on the tree. Did you notice that? They are not on the tree. They are on the side. They are in the space, in the side, this side, not in the tree. The reason is what I'm saying here now. Because the main transmission of Mahamudra came from Metripa, not from Naropa. It doesn't mean Marpa did not receive any Mahamudra teaching from Naropa. He received such as like, which is very famous now. We say Ganges Mahamudra. Have you ever heard of that? Ganges Mahamudra? That is very famous Doha that was taught by Telopa to Naropa. And the reason why it is called Ganges Mahamudra is because of the location where it was taught. And then we pronounce it Ganga. Now I become American. I say Ganges. This is how you pronounce, right? River Ganges. River Ganges. So it's called, for example, like that. But nevertheless, the main Mahamudra lineage from Metripa. So if you do the real Mahamudra supplication, the lineage prayer, then all these people are mentioned there. From Vajradhara, and then Ratnamati, and then from there Saraha, Nagarjuna, and then Shavari, Metripa, and then Marpa, and come the same time, then Milam. And so Naropa and Telopa is not there. That's the reason why I prefer to call it Tapokuki lineage. But then if you ask, if so, then why Jambal Sangbo wrote in this way? Is because we have many different lineages within our, like we say, Pratimoksha lineage, Bodhisattva lineage, and then Mahamudra lineage, and the lineage guru of the sixth Dharma, and so forth. So in general, we have something called the Kaikyu Golden Rosary. And that is the most important lineage. That includes, sometimes we also call Zongjuk Gyuba. Zongjuk Gyuba means the lineage guru of the unity. But usually we say Kaikyu Sekitenwa, which means the lineage of Kaikyu Golden Rosary. When you say that, then it begins from Vajradhara, Telo, Naro, and Marpa Mila like that. That's why then Jamba Sangmo wrote this way. And then I think it's more appropriate to call Tapa Kauki lineage prayer rather than Mahamudra. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but since Jamba Sangmo did not mention any title, we can title anything, and then that makes more sense to me. Okay, and also, not only me, there's other people. For example, if you have KTG Chinese book, we start with this lineage, and the title it says Tapa Kauki lineage prayer. But some also say Mahamudra, I'm going to say that here more. Okay, anyway. But it doesn't mean Marpa did not receive any Mahamudra teaching from Naropa that came down from Telopa. He did receive many important Mahamudra teaching from Naropa, such as Ganges Mahamudra, and so on. The way how this supplication is written is according to our main lineage guru, which is called Kaikyu Golden Rosary. I have already told you that. We have many lineages, such as Mahamudra lineage, the lineage of sixth Dharma, the Pratimoksha lineage, and the Bodhisattva lineage, and so on. I want to say one good thing about my guru. I'm not here to advertise my guru, but just to let you know. Because you all know Khenpo Kanta Rinpoche, and he is a guru of most of you. And then Khenpo Rinpoche told me, he says, my guru is called Dabsan Rinpoche. Lama Wangdu know very well. Lama Wangdu have seen many times also. And then he is emanation of Gamboba, okay, or Gamboba, according to my pronunciation, Gamboba. So, and then he is one of the lineage guru in the Pratimoksha lineage only. I don't know why, Jampu Khontu, the great, he was in every other lineage, but when it comes to the Pratimoksha, he thought the Dabsan Rinpoche would be better than him. So he requested Situpa, the ninth Situpa, who was the main root guru of Jamgon Khontu the Great, and was as well as Dabsang. Then Situpa Rinpoche said, okay, Dabsang Rinpoche is in lifelong retreat, but I will see what I can do. Then, of course, when the Situpema Nije told Dabsang Rinpoche, hold this lineage, then he cannot be against his guru's command. And this is how he came to this Pratimoksha lineage. And then after that, you all know Karmapa Khakyop Dorje was married. And then second Jamgon Khontu was his son. You know that, right? So he was not a monk. He was not a monastery, not an ordained monk. Therefore, there's no way he can get the Pratimoksha. Therefore, there's another Khenpo called Tashi Weser in Palpung Monastery. So in the lineage prayer, since you are all lay people, you don't need to that like monastery who are the following of ordained in Kalki. We do that supplicant always, and it says Dawa Zangdan Tashi Weser. We say like that, and then from Tashi Weser, then it came down to the previous Sutra Rinpoche 11th Pema, and from them then it came down to 16th Karmapa, and from 16th Karmapa then this come to now we have like Sutra Rinpoche and all this. So my guru was specially qualified in this Pratimoksha guru. As I said, we have many different lineages, and then all the lineage has not always same gurus. They are different gurus. Now go back to Khenpo Kanta Rinpoche. And then Khenpo Kanta Rinpoche told me that he did not really have personally a very close relation with Dabsan Rinpoche, but he said he's very much devoted to Dabsan Rinpoche. Which is my root guru. And then he said the reason is, he told me, Khenpo Rinpoche told me, he says, two reasons, he says. The one reason is emanation of Gampopa. And the Khenpo Rinpoche is very much devoted to Gampopa because Khenpo Rinpoche, he himself is exemplary monk, bhikshu, purest monk in our time. And then Gampopa was the one who started this monastic system in our lineage. Before that, like until Milarepa, both in Indian Mahasiddha and Tibet, they are all like yogis, like lay people, So Gampopa was the one who started monastic system and so forth. And then Khenpo Rinpoche is very devoted to Gampopa, he said. And then he said he's devoted to Dabsan Rinpoche because of one reason is his emanation of Gampopa. And the other reason, he said, he is in our Pratimoksha Bhaw's lineage guru. Yeah, so like that. So as I said, it doesn't mean, for example, most of you may not know, but Lama Keita know very well, we have 3 idams in our main idam. Of course, Lama Tom and Lama Wangdu, they all know. One of them is called Jina Sakara, or usually we just use Tibetan word, Gyawa Gyaso. And Gyawa Gyamso also came not from Milarepa, not Gampopa, not Tusum Khenpa. It came from different, the starting point is different. It came from Rechungba. So, like that, so Mahamudra lineage came from Metripa, not Naropa. That's what I'm saying here, trying to say. So, okay, anyway, okay. Rechungba received it from Tepupa. Again, there's a very nice story about Tepupa. Tepupa is, I don't know whether I should say reincarnation or what, but that is the dead body in which the consciousness of the Marba's son enter and it become alive again. So I don't know whether I should reincarnation or what. I don't know what kind of term I must use. Maybe I will tell you a little bit about that. This because knowing the extraordinary qualities of Guru is also very good practice because that inspires us very much. And we need to be inspired, otherwise we're always distracted with these all worldly things. Okay, that's why I'm trying to say a little bit here and there. Okay, anyway, our main 3 idam, Chakra Sambara and Vajrayogini, came from our usual lineage, but Jina Sakara came from different lineage. Then from the Dongkong region, which is counted as the first Sudu, and then from that, then same. Even Tusum Khenpa is not there. Rechungpa brought from India, and then he gave a lama called Sangri Reba. Then from there, and then Dongkong region, and until now, like that. Okay, so anyway, the root words of this supplication was composed by Bhengar Jambal Zangbo, and it doesn't seem he gave any title to it. So different commentaries call it with different names. As far as I know, the first person who wrote a commentary on this profound supplication was His Holiness, the 8th Gyalwang Karmapa, Miki Dorje. And he called it, in Tibetan, he said, Soltep Dortenma, which means the supplication that begins with Vajradhara and Telopa. That's why Miki Dorje called this Soltep Dortenma, he says. And then his commentary is what we call the commentary on the essential point. He didn't explain word by word, but he just pointed out the essential meaning of it. In Tibetan, we say Twentel. We have something called Twentel and Siktel. Siktel is, explaining word by word. It's called Siktel. And then just give you the essential point, the important point is called Twentel. So the way how Miki Dorje wrote commentary was like that. After that, after His Holiness, the 8th Gyalwang Karmapa Miki Dorje, then Karma Chame wrote a commentary on it, and he called it Soldep Dorje Changtungma, which means the short Vajradhara supplication. After that, Karma Chame, Karma Khenchin Rinchen Darge. Okay, Karma Khenchin. Khenchin means great abbot, right? Abbot. Great abbot, great abbot, and then Karma is a monastery, and that was founded by the first Karmapa. First Karmapa founded many monasteries, and then 3 of them become more important. Of course, the Surbu was the representative of his mind, it says, and the Karma is the second one. So one great Khenpo from there, whose name is Rinchen Targe, wrote a commentary on it, this supplication, and he called it Soldep Dorje Changshema, which means the great Vajradhara supplication. Because it starts with the great Vajradhara, Telo, Naro, Marba, Mila, Novo, 3 times like that, you know? That's why. So different commentators give different name. After that, after Karma Khenchin, a close and old student of Jamkung Khondro Loduthai named Khenpo Tsepol wrote a commentary on it, and he called it Soldep Dorjen Changtungma again, which means the short Vajradhara prayer. And then after that, after Khenpo Tsepol, His Holiness, the 15th Gyalwang Karmapa, Khakyap Dorje, wrote a commentary on it, and he called it after Miki Dorje. Khakyap Dorje also called it Soldep Dordenma, which means the supplication that begins with Vajradhara and Telopa. Just like Miki Dorje. His commentary is what we call the commentary on the essential meaning. So Khakyap Dorje also did not explain word by word, but he just gave us the essential point. And then in our time, His Holiness, the 17th Gyalwang Karmapa, working Trinley Dorje, taught it as part of the Dharma teaching during the 29th Kagyu Molom, Chemo. And he called it short Vajradhara prayer, which I did not bring the book here. I have the book. I'm going to read from tomorrow from there also. Maybe I will not be there today. That's why I did not bring the book with me. Anyway, and then His Holiness, the 17th Gyalwang Karmapa, has explained the reason why it is called short Vajradhara prayer in his book. I will read this from his book for you later. And then in our time again, Gyabje Yongzun Khenchen Thanggu Rinpoche, you all know him, Thanggu Rinpoche, wrote a commentary on it, and he also called it Soldep Dorje Changtungma, which means the short Vajradhara supplication. So different guru, different scholar called with different name. Because Bengal Jampa Thanggu did not give any title, so we are free to call it whatever you want. and then that's all, that is all I have seen and heard so far on this. And then I haven't seen any other commentary. There could be, but I haven't seen. These I have already seen, but I did not receive any teaching on them except the Kamachame one. That's why I'm going to base my teaching on that. And also, since the writer of the root text, Bengal Jambal Zangpo, didn't seem to have mentioned any topical outline. This is also a little difficult for me. In Tibetan, we say sabje, but different translators use different words. Some say like just heading, or just outline or topical outline. I don't know whichever sounds better. You just take that one, okay? Because I really don't know which is the best translation for Tibetan word called sabje. Sabje. So different scholar taught it under different heading or different topical outlines. The way how His Holiness the Seven Gyong Karmapa Origin Trinley Dorje taught is very much similar to the commentary that was written by Karma Khenchen Rinchen Targe, who taught it under two main headings: visualizing the field of accumulation and sustaining one's nature. And His Holiness also taught in this way. And then others taught in under many headings and subdivision and so forth. Anyway, I'm going to base my teaching on the commentary that was written by Kamachame, and I will be reading occasionally from His Holiness the 17th Gyong Karmapa's book too, because I have received his teaching on this precious prayer in person at Bodh Gaya. And I have received the teaching on Kamachame's commentary from Khenpo. Okay. Reading from His Holiness the 17th Gyong Karmapa's book will definitely bring a special blessing of him upon us. I have already translated the Kamachame's commentary in advance, and I will be reading that too. I will give a short explanation here and there whenever it is necessary. Generally speaking, Tibetan and English language are very much different. And we have kind of huge gap between the written language and the colloquial in Tibetan language, whereas the English language doesn't seem to have too much difference between the written language and colloquial. So when we teach Dharma, which are most of the time available only in the written language in Tibetan, therefore the teachers find a lot of things to explain, because we need to kind of translate almost everything from the written language into colloquial when we teach in Tibetan. But in English, since the English language doesn't seem to have too much difference between the written language and colloquial, and it is already very clear in Kamachame's commentary, I don't think I will find or I will need to explain much, except reading it with the proper pronunciation. But I have already put lots of effort to translate it in advance. Okay, so nevertheless, I will definitely give a short explanation here and there whenever I think it is necessary. As far as my understanding is concerned, this supplication also can be taught and explained under the three main headings as the traditional way of explaining any sacred or important text in Tibetan Buddhism, which are, we say, Thongmar Gewa Legi Dun. Today I'm going to use more Tibetan because Lama Ngudal is here. Yesterday is for useless if I just killing the time, Today there's a reason for me. Okay, I'm just kidding. So we say Thongmar Gewa Legi Dun, which I translate as the auspicious and virtuous preparation at the beginning. That is the one main outline. And the second one is we say Bhardukewa Shungidon in Tibetan, which means the auspicious and virtuous main body of the text in the middle. And the third main outline is called Tamargewa Jugidon in Tibetan, which means the auspicious and virtuous conclusion of prayer and dedication at the end. So I'm going to explain in that way, which makes more easier to understand. The auspicious and virtuous preparation at the beginning is visualizing the field of merit and supplication to them, which is mentioned in the following verses of the root text. There are a few different English translation of the root verses, and they all look very good, excellent to me, but I'm going to use for my teaching the one that was translated by Kagyumolam translation team. The reason is because I think it was done under the auspicious guidance of His Holiness the 17th Gyong Karmapa. So it carries a special blessing. And I think you have all the copies, right? So let's see. Okay. Yeah, the first one. Good. It's the first. So in Tibetan, I don't have to read. It says, Grace Badadara, Telo, Naropa, Marpa, Mela, Dharma Lord Gambopa, the knower of three times, omniscient Kamapa, those who hold the four elder and eight younger lineages, the Digung and Taklung and Salpa, great Drukpa, and others who have mastered Mahamudра's profound path, unequal protector of beings, Takpo Kagyu, we supplicate you, Kagyu Gurus. We uphold your lineage. Please bless us to follow your example. So this much is here complete the first main outline, which is the virtues and auspicious at the beginning as a preparation. Which means if so far we have been doing this supplication so many times, but we just have been doing it as a supplication, not as a practice. So if we want to take this supplication as a profound practice, then you have to visualize this first. Then after you visualize the field of merit, what we call sonam gishin, then after you finish doing the visualization, then we start the supplication. Then this part is the what it mentions, how you visualize the field of merit. Okay, I will explain that later. Let me say something. So this is what the root text says for the first main topical outline, the auspicious and virtuous preparation at the beginning, which is the visualization. Visualization, the field of merit and supplication. Before I explain first main topical outline, the auspicious and virtuous beginning of preparation, let me talk a little bit about the very beginning of our precious lineage as a concise introduction of it. So to be a genuine follower of Kagyu lineage, it's very important to know where you all know. For those of you, you already know, it's just a reminder. And for those who don't know yet, then this is something that you should know. Okay, so let me say, I'm going to read about it from the Treasure of Knowledge. You know the Treasure of Knowledge, right? Now, written by Jamgon Khontrul Lord Thai, the Great. He has written it very clearly, so I don't think I need to explain anything more, but just to read it with the proper pronunciation. The problem is it was translated by different translation, so there are so many words that I don't know how to pronounce. So let me try anyway. So before I start reading from here, we have something called the Dubju Shinta Khenpo Ge in Tibetan. Dubju Shinta Khenpo Ge, I usually translate as the eight great chariots. Chariot, the car which is pulled by the horse. Pronunciation, okay? Chariots. Okay, so we usually say the eight great chariots of practice lineage. And then our lineage belong to one of them. That's why I'm going to read from that section, from the Treasure of Knowledge, but in concise way, I will be just keep jumping from here and there. I'm just going to read which I think are necessary for us to know. If I have to read whole section, then it will take more than a week. Then there's no other teaching. Okay, now I'm going to say it. The history of lineage of meditation practice in Tibet, this one says eight major chariots. Eight major chariots. My usual translation is eight great chariots. So in Tibetan we say Khenpo. Khenpo is usually say great. Okay. This chapter has two parts. A brief presentation and a full explanation. First, and then I don't know how well you know about the Treasure of Knowledge. Root text was written by Jamgon Khontrul himself, and then commentary was also written by him at the request of Jamyen Khyentse Ongpo. So I can say auto commentary. Can I say auto commentary? Auto commentary, right? Like for example, if I write my life, we call autobiography. So this is kind of auto commentary. So both root text, Tsawa and Delpa are here. I'm going to read them. Now this is the first one, the Tsawa. And then as I already told you, this is a translation from different translation group. So there are so many words that I don't usually use. Then I will tell you anyway. Okay, now the root text says, in Tibet, there are 8 major chariots, lineage of meditation practice. I usually don't say meditation, I just say practice, because in Tibetan we say dubgyu. Dubgyu. Dubgyu is lineage of practice. So I think this translation group thinks it's better to say meditation practice. Okay. The first one is ancient tradition. So when you say ancient tradition, it sounds strange, but which we usually say nyingma, just nyingma, right? Nyingma. And then it says the Buddha's word and instruction. That also sounds strange, because strange to me, because I usually don't use the kind of, this is what we say kadamba. Kadamba is translated as the Buddha's word as instruction. And the path with the result. And this is usually we just call lamde. And this is the, kadamba, nyingma, nyingma. And then kadamba later on become like gilugpa. Gilugpa is more kadamba. So there is no really lineage called kadamba now. But gilugpa usually called the new kadamba, But now I think there's another group called new kadamba. Anyway. And then path with the result is lamde, which is the main practice of Sachapa now. And then it's a Marba's doctrinal, right? Doctrinal lineage. Usually we just say Marba Kagyu, but it's a doctrinal lineage. And the Shangba doctrinal lineage again, which we usually say Shangba Kagyu. So one thing here I want to make sure, I think you already know, is we have so many different Kagyu, like usually we say, His Holiness called us to use the word elder and younger, not the greater and lesser, because it could mean some misunderstanding. He always, and then Tibetan word is che chung. So che chung can mean anything, like young, older and younger, or bigger or similar, or no, greater or lesser, anything. But His Holiness, in this case, English word the best is elder, 4 elder lineage and 8 younger lineage. And then reason he has said very clearly, I will read that tomorrow, okay? So what I'm saying is, Shangba Kagyu is not one of them. We have Shangba Kagyu, is not one of them. Shangba Kagyu is totally different lineage from the very beginning. It doesn't belong to the Marpa Kagyu. Okay? Marpa Kagyu. Okay. Other all these 12 lineages of Kagyu, different lineages of Kagyu, all belong to Marpa Kagyu, but Shangpa Kagyu is different one. That's why Jamgon Kongtrul wrote here, when he count these 8 great chariots of practice lineage, he count Shangpa Kagyu separately as one. And another one is called approach and accomplishment. Sorry, I'm not there yet. Another one is called pacification. In Tibetan, we say hije, and that's the lineage that was brought to Tibet. And we say some people like to Lujin, Lujin practice, and that's the practice. But now there's no particular lineage called hije lineage, but the teaching is practiced in every lineage. For example, we Kagyupa, Nyingmapa, everyone do the practice of Chö, and that come from Shije. But no particular lineage that's called Shije right now. But this is one of them in the past. And 6th application. This is called Jordu in Tibetan. Jordu is mainly based on the Kalachakra Tantra. And then I think now there's another lineage called Chonang. You know Chonang? Chonang is practice this lineage mostly. And approach and accomplishment of 3 Bajra. This is, we say, Dorje Nyendrup in Tibetan. That was brought by the Ogenba, one of our lineage guru. So anyway, since I'm introducing you our lineage, I'm just telling the only name. Of course, we have no time to go detail one by one. And also, since I already mentioned the name, I'm not going to read the commentary here. It takes time. Now I'm jumping directly to the Marpa Kagyu, because that is what we have to do something with. Okay? Of course, it would be nice to know all about them if we have enough time. But since we have only 3 evenings, we don't have time to go through. But it's necessary for us to know where and how our lineage started, and then how great it is. The greatest one. I'm just kidding. Okay, let me go to the Marpa now. Okay. It says, Marpa's doctrinal lineage. This section has 2 parts again: identification of the tradition and a presentation of its lineages. So, which means the first one is Jamgon Kongtrul is telling us how it started, from where. And then how many lineages is it developed? Even subsequently, right? Subsequently, later on. So, okay, the first one, root text. Root text, I don't know why I don't feel very, according to Tibetan, the Ori translation is, I don't feel too satisfied. That's why I have translated by myself. Let me read that one. Okay, the root text, it says, there are two lineages of teaching and practice that came from the Lord Marpa, the grand translator, the region of Naropa and Matripa, who possess four transmission. This, I think, I will read a little bit, but if you don't know about Theolopa already, it could be confusing. And I have no time to go in detail. I will just read what Jang Khonto has written here. Okay, this is how our lineage started, okay? Thelopa, Lord of accomplished meditator, chained his foot to the west, Somapuri temple, and practiced meditation for 12 years. So please don't expect to get a great realization from these 3 evenings. He practiced 12 years. I'm just kidding. You can be enlightened right away, and you never know. Yeah, we cannot judge each other. I'm just kidding. Okay, okay. So anyway, this is according to our Kaki Golden Rosary. Telopa is the first human teacher in our lineage. That's what our. But according to the sixth Mahamudra and so forth, and we have many other before him also. But according to the main lineage, which we call the Kagyu Golden Rosary, and Telopa is the first human teacher. And then this is how he practiced and how he became a realized being, a Mahasiddha. And practice, okay, 12 years. After that, he followed the prophetic, right? Prophecy, and then how to do the adjective word, prophetic. Yeah, prophetic. See, I was doing okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. The prophetic advice of his guru and wisdom deity became a prostitute's servant. So this is a Vajrayana way of, I'm not going to detail. Actually, I'm not allowed to say in public also. But since I have to introduce, I think it's okay to say a little bit here and there on the name, some that. So he was told to be a helper of a prostitute. And then that's the way how he practiced more advanced practice. After he practiced 12 years, putting chain in his feet, then again his guru told him to go and help the prostitute. In that way, you will be fully enlightened being, like that. So after that, he followed the prophetic advice of his master guru and wisdom deity and become a prostitute servant. Having trained in the path's realization, he reached a stage of sublime accomplishment. So now, then after that, he became a Mahasiddha. By merely singing Vajra song of realization, which we call Gur in Tibetan or Dohas in Sanskrit, he liberated the residents of 1,200,000 cities. It is said that his 8 disciples who attained accomplishment worked for beings' welfare as he did in same way. Telopa received, okay, now this is how our lineage started. Telopa received 2 doctrinal transmission. I usually don't say doctrinal. I don't know what it has to do. I just say 2 transmission. And then also in Tibetan we say ringyu and yegyu, which means the short direct transmission and then long transmission, something like that. But here, this says, I think this should be better, because the who translate this is much better than my English. So it says, one historical and one proximate. What does proximate mean? Okay, then that's perfect. So, okay, now, for the first one, which means the long one, now Telopa himself said, this is a quotation from Telopa. He says, Nagarjuna, Krishnacharya, Lavapa, and Subhagini. Nagarjuna, okay. Okay, he says Nagarjuna, Krishnacharya, Lavapa, and Subhagini are the spiritual master of my four doctrinal transmission. So you know, right, that we have something called sixth dharma of Naropa. So it came from these people, came to Telopa. And then here, Jamku Khondu says, Telopa received the transmission. I'm just going to leave the doctrinal. I don't know why you have to have that. I cannot even pronounce it. Doctrinal, right? Doctrinal? Okay, I'm doing okay. Telopa received the doctrinal transmission of fierce inner heat, which I usually just say Sanskrit word, Chandali or Tumo. Okay, Tumo, from Krishnacharya, an illusory body and clear light from Nagarjuna, which, if you know Tibetan word, we say Gulu and Vesal. And a lucid dreaming is a lucid dreaming. I usually say just dream yoga. From Luipa, Alawapa, and intermediate state. Intermediate state is Pardo, and transparency of consciousness is Poa, and he received from Sukasiddhi. So these are what we call the sixth dharma of Naropa. And then I really don't know why we call it sixth dharma of Naropa, because it came from Telopa. It should be called sixth dharma of Telopa. It's kind of unfair, you know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There must be a reason, you know. For example, our lineage, most people call Tapokagi lineage, actually it came from all the way from Marpa. Initially, it was called Marpa Kagyu. Now many people call Tapo Kagyu like that. No? So there must be a reason. Okay. Anyway, I'm just making fun. It's nice to make fun, you know. We all want to. Okay. Moreover, from the middle interbody, again, interbody is one of the Mahasiddhas of India, and that there are many interbody. We say middle body, Thangpo or Rabding Thasum. So this is the middle one, it's the middle interbody. He means Telopa received what we call the Shenlu Sherab, which is Shenlu Sherab in Tibetan. It says, he received instruction in union with others' body, sublime inside. Okay. And from Madang Jiba, he received instruction for entering a corpse. Entering a corpse is called Dongjuk in Tibetan, Dongjuk. I think I have to say a little bit here so you know, right? Maybe we might have no much time for Buddha nature, but it's okay because you already have Buddha nature in yourself. So let's do something nicely with this prayer first. So it is said that Tibetan people are not fortunate enough don't have enough merit to have this particular instruction, which is called Phowa Dongjuk in Tibetan. That's why it did not really spread, did not really benefit Tibetan people. And then how it ended is Marba had this one, because whatever Telopa has, Naropa, and whatever Naropa Marba had. So Marba had this one. He brought in Tibet. He practiced himself, and then he was expert. He could enter to any dead body he want. So that's why it says instruction for entering a corpse. You know. So for Dongju. So Marba had 7 sons. He had 7 sons, and then usually Marba is said to be emanation of Hevajra. And then we have something called 9 deities of Hevajra, Jebadorji, Hlagu. So his family, he himself, the consort, Dagmema, and the 7 sons, this together 9 symbolize the 9 deities of Hevajra mandala. So the best and the eldest son is called Dharma Dote. Say Dharma Dote. So Marbai gave this instruction to him, but unfortunately, or maybe it was Tibetan people don't have enough fortune to. He was killed in an accident, horse accident. He was thrown off, right? Thrown off from the horseback, and then his head got, crushed. Then he was still trying to keep this instruction in Tibet. So both father and then the son are looking for a dead body, which has every organs, everything incomplete, which has everything complete except the consciousness. Then if you found a dead body, then he could transfer his consciousness in that, and he could become alive again. But as I said, since the Tibetan people didn't have enough fortune to have this, and then they could not found any dead body, what they found is they just found a dead pigeon, right? The bird, yeah. So then the said Dharma Dode, the son, transfer his consciousness into the pigeon. Then now he doesn't know how to go to India. He'd never been there. But Marba has been in India many times already. So Marba give him GPS, GPS. And then he said, you go all the way to what we call, I think, Sitawan in Sanskrit. In Tibetan, we say Sivasal. When we talk about the Vajrayana mandala, we talk something called 8 great channel ground. Channel ground, right? Channel ground is where the it is kind of these days is like we can say maybe crematorium house, but it is not like now, So there is and then this Siddha one is one of them, Sivasar. So Marba go there and then you will find a dead body which has complete physical undamaged except the consciousness. So you enter that, then you become alive again. So he flew all the way using the GPS that was given to him by his father. Then he landed there. Then just as his father told, then a dead body of a young Brahmin was brought there and about to cremate. Then he immediately entered that, then he became alive. And that is what become the Tepupa. Earlier I was telling a little bit, and then later on, Reshungpa went and get lots of teaching from him. And then Jina Sakara came from him, actually. As I told earlier, we have 3 men Yidams, and then one of them did not come from Khenpo, did not come from Tusum Khenpo, but from Reshungpa, and Reshungpa received from that one. And then later on, he became such a great Vajrayana practitioner. He was nicknamed like Tipu Sangha Dongpo. Sangha Dongpo means the tree of Vajrayana, or a tree of sacred mantra. Yeah, this is the instruction for like that. So Teolopa received that from Matangi, and then he gave to Naropa, and then Maba received from him, and then Marba gave to his son, and his son brought back to India. So it was not. And then another story, because we don't have no time, but just to let you know, the Thampa Sangye is also he is kind of, when you depict it, when you write him or paint him, we paint like a kind of old, ugly looking man. Actually, it says he was a very handsome boy, very handsome young man, but he was helping one dead body, leaving his body back behind. Then while he was gone to left, then one Indian sadhu came, then he changed his, because this instruction is not only for Buddhists, also Hindu also have. So he just left his dead body, and then he took the Thampa Sangye's handsome body. So there was no other method, but Thampa Sangye had to enter in that body, and that's how he looks like that. Okay, I don't want to go detail that, because we have so many things else to do. What time it is? Oh, 3 minutes only. What happened? Okay, let me read a little more here. Although many opinions exist concerning to Telopa's historical lineage, which means many different scholars says different way where this Telopa received this the 6th Dharma of Naropa. Everyone says there's 4 different transmission, but different scholars say different way. But here Lodothai is quoting from Rangjung Dorje, the 3rd Karmapa. He says, this is from Jamgung Khonto, okay, not from Khenpo Sangye. Okay, he says, although many opinions exist concerning to Telopa's historical lineage, glorious Rangjung Dorje states, now this is a word from Rangjung Dorje. Rangjung Dorje says, the 3rd Karmapa, the true, perfect, great Buddha Vajradhara taught lot of secrets. Lord of Secrets, another name of Vajapani. We say Sangye Dakbo interpreter. Fourth, Lord of Secrets and Lord, oh Lord, Lord of Secrets and other bodhisattvas who pass this teaching to the four doctrinal transmissions gurus or spiritual master. And now, earlier, Telopa mentioned only one person in one direction, but now Rangjung Dorje is giving, I think, 4 people in each direction. He says, okay, Rangjung Dorje says, Nagarjuna, Arya Deva, Chantakirti, and Matangipa, the southern lineage. Drombi Heruka, Binapa, Lavapa, and Indrabodhi form the western lineage. Luipa, Denkipa, Darikapa, and Sukadari form the northern lineage. Suka Mahasiddhi, Hanglopa, Shinglopa, and Karnaripa form the eastern lineage. So according to Rangjung Dorje, each lineage has four different teachers. And then now Jamku Kundu is saying, these 4 directions are given in terms of the regions of India where most of those masters originated. Concerning the proximate lineage, now we are done, the long lineage, now short lineage. Then Teoloba himself said, I, Teoloba, this is quotation from Teoloba, I, Teoloba, do not have human teacher, human master. My master is omniscient one. Means the Vajradhara Buddha himself, omniscient one. So, as stated, if we think from the proximate lineage, then he received instruction on secret mantras, 4 levels of Tantra directly from Buddha Vajradhara. There was no other human being between them. And Vajrayogini entrusted him with the treasure of oral lineage, 3-fold cycle of jewels. He thus gathered the essence of all profound instruction for meditation. Okay, now I'm done with the Telopa and time is also done. Exactly 8:03. So we should stop. Tomorrow maybe I will go a little faster because I want to finish the Chairman Rinpoche's commentary on the topic. But these are also good, right? Good to know, right? Yeah, okay. That means I did not waste your time. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, and then I have something to say. Okay, maybe we do tomorrow. No time today. What dedication we have, Lamala? Page 30, okay. 30, okay. 30, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, 30. Okay, maybe let me see. Yeah, 1 minute. Maybe we do 21st, 25. 25, yeah. That one, then we go to 30. 25 is long life prayer of Yaon Kamapa. Yeah. As a follower of Kagyu lineage, it's very important for us. 25, yes. 25. Yeah. We do that one. And then the 26 also. And that is the all heart son of heart son and heart daughter of Kamapa. Okay? Okay, are you there with me? Page number 25. We do with normality. Om Soti Karmaka Besaya Meshe Dangpa Rangjun Shukin Gyumdru Sogin Kurshin Karma Sansum Dorjin Kamsun Rabdenji Taye Trinley Lundro Barbara Sho Deshin Sogin Koloye Taro Dusum Gave Deshin Karma Yapsen Gyubra Jeba Sison Kalba Kalbe Pardon Shabdens Gangi Sabsan Songye Sangwa Yin Tosan Drobar Yingbo Chebai Bondang Loben Denan Tamjin Yagyu Cho Dawa Ge Gyurajin. Now we do 28. 28 is your longevity supplication for your own guru. Those of you who are student of Lama Keti, you can also think of Lama Keti and for her long life with perfect health and so forth. So this is general, whoever your guru, you can focus on that. Okay? The 28. Lama Kungam Sangvara Sovan De Chodo Kuse Ringvara Sovan Chile Dashin Yebra Soad, Lama Dan Drawa Mebra Sangye Lo. Now 31. Sonam Deyi Tamje Segwani, Tomne Nyebe Ranam Pamjin, Yegan Aje Balab Chokbai, Sebe Sole, Roan Rover Show, Jambal Bawo, Chidre Kemba, Kundu Sangbo, Dayan Deshin, Teda Quengi, Jason, Dalog, Gewan Dida Tamje Rabdong, Sangye, Kusong Nyebe, Lastly, 29. And this is a prayer of spreading the teaching of Karma Power for the benefit of all sentient beings in every corner of the world. You think that way. Karma, Baden, Tembe, Yingbo, Chodar, Guinkap, Captain, Gumins, Dagbaran, Pepe, Dashi, Shu. So before we say good night, we will do little meditation on what we call the excellent conclusion of dedication. We already did the verses. Now we have to mentally dedicate everything that we accumulate during this session. Thank you. For you by listening, for me by being talkative. Thank you. Good night. See you tomorrow.
You can take, try to remember to bring. To get the unplugged. Okay, thank you. Good night. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone. And you can take the pages home with you, but do remember to bring them tomorrow. Hopefully we'll learn some of the songs tomorrow. Okay. Thanks to everyone at home. Thank you, Don, and the host on the Zoom for your help this evening. Thank you.